If you're the kind of person that can play a track from the very beginning of the project to the very end without having to segment it like I do, then I'm really jealous of you. But for me, I always have to move in these segments. And it also helps me kind of massage the song and maybe even rewrite the song a little bit as I'm going once I hear everything in these individual segments. So let's do a linear recording. I'm not going to do it from the very start of the project through the end because one, I can't do that, and two, you'd get very bored watching me do that. Instead, let's do a linear recording, but I'm just going to have it match up to this region. So I'm not going to use the cycle. I'm going to turn that off by hitting the / key on my numeric keypad. Then I'm going to close up those lanes on the drum track, and I'm going to click on Retrolog, which has the bass sound on it, but I don't want it to say Retrolog 01. So I'm going to double click on the track name, and I'm going to call this synth bass. And I am going to have the recording start at measure 3, so I'm going to leave my playback cursor at the position of the left locator and start the recording. Now, if I don't press stop, then it's going to continue on and on and on because now I'm not in that cycle mode anymore. So I'll press stop, and you can see that the boundaries of that event are a little bit different than we saw when we were cycle recording because the recording just continues on. Some people will go back and clean up the beginnings and endings of those events. I'm just going to leave this one where it is right now, and I am going to change the end of this event by dragging that handle down here a little bit. We'll talk more about handles when we talk about editing. But now I have my synth bass part. When I play that back, both the drum track and the bass track will play together. Now, when you're recording in a linear fashion, you will want to think about the record mode that you're currently in. Right now, we're still in mix mode with the stacked and no mutes on, so let's just verify that by coming down to the MIDI record modes. And yes, I am in mix stacked, which for this type of track, it's not really going to be effective to record over again because I'd be recording new events onto that track, and I've already got all the notes that I want on it. So the record mode for this won't matter quite as much if you're doing simple recording like I am right now. So for right now, I'm going to set that back to mix. But if I were to record again without erasing that first event, watch what happens. So there's a new event being made. When I press stop, it's going to be doing that mix recording with individual events placed on top of one another. So you'll see those pinstripes again. And if I look at the lanes, each one of those recording passes will be on its own lane. But that's really not going to be effective for this type of track unless you're doing it note by note. I played all the notes I wanted to in the first track, so I'm just going to undo that other recording, then close up the lanes. And next I'll show you re-record mode.